They have done an amazing job. We're about getting them vaccinated though. That's what today's announcements are all about, and making sure that they're safe, their families are safe, and that we can be open on or about, and hopefully before the 26th of October.
Can I ask you one on construction?
Yes, you certainly can.
So I know a prerequisite of reopening is for everyone to receive that first dose of vaccination, but this was the reason why people were protesting in retaliation against this.
Well, some of them, yes.
Yes, so I guess how likely is the sector to fully reactivate, and do we still have any indication of how many in the sector have been vaccinated?
So many state hubs. There's been a sea of fluoro, lots of tradies, younger and older, coming through and getting their first and second doses. That's fantastic. When we'll really know is after Tuesday, once they reopen and we start seeing how many people are on site, because the only people who can be on site are those who've had a first dose, and then ultimately it'll become those who've had a second dose. But I think that construction workers across the board, they know, like we all do, that these vaccines work. These vaccines work, and they want to keep themselves safe, they want to keep their families safe, they want to keep their co-workers safe, and they want to get back to work. They build things, and they do an amazing job. Again, I've made this point, but I will make it again just so there's no sense of any confusion. Those protesters did not speak for people who work in the trades. In fact, they're an insult to people who work in the trades, because they're not violent. They build things. They don't wreck stuff. They build things. And they're all, in my experience, fine, hard-working people who want to get back to work. That's what Tuesday will be all about.
Applies to professional sports too.
Yes, it does. So I expect there'll be a conversation, for instance, with the AFL, where the AFL will be informed on behalf of all their clubs that if you want to go back to pre-season training in a month's time or so, you will need to be double vaxxed as an authorised worker. Even when after we get to 80% and the authorisations are no longer there, the mandate, the rule, the Chief Health Officer direction will stay in place, because cases will still be an issue then.
Will that apply to incoming cricket teams from England and other sporting nations?
I would expect so, and the reason I say I expect so is who gets into the country is not a matter for me. I don't issue passports or visas. We've got enough to do without doing that. But I think it is highly unlikely that the Commonwealth Government will be letting anybody into this country that has not been double vaxxed. Certainly in the kind of medium term. That may change over time, but that's only my assumption. But the actual position, only the Commonwealth can answer that for you. But I think it's highly unlikely that you'd be getting in here, say, during the summer, if you had not been double vaxxed. And if you did get in, you'd probably have to quarantine for 14 days if you weren't double vaxxed, and you'd have to do it in a quarantine facility, not at home, as it would seem we're moving to. And for less than 14 days too. The trial up in New South Wales is for 7 days. I think one of the items on today's agenda will get a report from Premier Marshall about the home quarantine, some of the technology that they've been using in South Australia. So,
how long do you anticipate that this vaccination lockout, or whether it be the economy or for work, will last here in Victoria?
I can't be certain. We'll follow advice on that. I'm certainly not here today to signal. In fact, I've quite the opposite. The notion that all these rules come off at 90% single dose, for instance, or even 90% double dose, no, we're not. It's too early. It's too early for us to predict. And I wouldn't want to say to anybody out there, well, look, just hold out for a few weeks and you'll be able to go about the pub and go to the G and do everything as if you were vaccinated. No, that's not the case. We're going to have a vaccinated economy, and we're going to lock some people out, because that is far better than locking everybody down. That's the decision that we've made, and I would appeal to people. These vaccines are safe and they work, so please go and get one.